Yow! Linda wanted to hear that. Moves Like Jagger, Maroon 5, and Christina Aguilera on k-lite 94.7. It's the k-lite K-Drive. Adam checking in, kicking off your Monday. Kicking off my Monday. I guess you've been up for a while, huh? All right, so I hope, right? Oh, goodness. All right, so 3:07. It's 68 degrees, not a cloud in the sky when I was last outside. Looks great out there and feels good, too. Great weather. We'll see how long that's going to last. We'll check out the forecast in just a couple of minutes. And let's see, I got a few other things here. By the way, I was supposed to remind you, the boil water advisory for Bear Hollow, that has been lifted. Hey, how was your weekend? What'd you get into? Me, I just been here and there. I actually got gas for $3.52. And I felt like I was getting a great deal. I'll tell you where that was here in just a few more minutes. The script right now, for the first time. Aerosmith are putting the final touches on their new album. I believe that's going to be on it. Joe Perry, the guitarist, he says 15 songs are on the record. They didn't know when they're going to make another one, so they figured they'd pack this one with music. It's going to be coming out on November 6th. It's called Music from Another Dimension. And the bass player, Tom Hamilton, says the album shows the result of their 40 years together as a band. It's incredible. Aerosmith and the new song just now, What Could Have Been Love. I was talking about, and I'm bragging about, I'm very, how I got gas for $3.52 over the weekend. And everybody's wanting to know, where were you, Were you out of state? Nope. I was in Kentucky. Was I in Johnson County? Nope. Where was I? You're wanting some of this gas, aren't you? Over the weekend, it was $3.52 when I was in Mount Sterling. Why can't we pay $3.52 here?
Here's what's happening.
Matchbox 20, She's So Mean. It's their latest on k-lite 94.7. Their new album, North. So some random things that researchers say determine how successful you are. If you think success is all about effort, they put out this list that might change your mind. And apparently, it's all three of these things are nothing you can do a thing about. Great. So, number one, your face. Not necessarily just how good looking you are. A study at Duke found that a mature looking face makes you look more competent, which makes you more likely to get a job, they say. They also say your name. Research has shown that you're less likely to get hired or promoted if your name is hard to pronounce. I don't necessarily agree with that. I know some people with some pretty difficult names. And they're in some pretty important positions, And plus, and then being a DJ, I mean, gosh, all these names of these artists that have made it big, when they first came out, I had no idea how to pronounce. So I don't think that really has anything to do with that. Just my opinion, though. And then they say how popular you were in high school. In one study, researchers had kids list the top 3 most popular kids in their class. And then 35 years later, researchers checked back in with everyone. They say on average, the top 15% in popularity were making an average of 10% more than everyone else, regardless of what their grades were in high school. What that means, it just goes back to what we already know. It's all about who you know.
Highlands Hill.
More. And we're lost my train of thought there. So anyway, everything kind of happens at once here. We were talking about names a few minutes ago, though, and how this study suggests that your name is linked with your success. If you have a difficult name to pronounce, it determines that someone with an easier name is more likely to be hired or promoted. Like I was saying, I don't particularly believe that. I know some people with some pretty difficult names and some pretty, important positions. Plus artists, some of these artists, I mean, not everyone knew how to, well, even take, I don't know, Darius Rucker or something, Hootie and the Blowfish. Yeah, we all know how to pronounce his name now. It was funny. I was just reading how they said his laugh always gets him in trouble. He admits he's got a big, stupid laugh. That's his quote, not mine. And he says it gets him in trouble all the time. And I thought it's funny. I was out eating out this weekend, and I heard these two young boys, probably around 9 or 10 years old, and this was at the table next to me. And this boy looked at the other boy. He said, "I can't stand your laugh. I don't know how you have a girlfriend." Because your laugh sucks. So, that just lingered in my head all day long. Anyway, Kira was talking about my youngest fan, or K-Lite's youngest fan. I'm not going to take all the credit here. I think he's, what was the name? Daniel Paul, I believe was his name. Wanted to hear some Big Time Rush. Windows down. We can do that for you, Daniel. It's K-Lite 94.7. Let me tell you what one of my friends did yesterday. She was in this small fit of rage, if you will. It was about the Steelers thing. She's from Pennsylvania. And she tossed her phone onto the kitchen counter, just kind of tossed it, And she realized a long time later, like almost an hour later, that she overshot. The phone was in the sink. Yes, the sink was plugged. There was water. What's the craziest thing that ever happened to you in your phone? Call me, 789-6664. People have a time with their phones, I was talking about my friend who was, kind of throwing a little fit about the game over the weekend, and she threw her phone over onto her kitchen countertop, and it kind of might have went in the sink, and she didn't know it for like an hour. And I was thinking, what's the craziest thing with your phone? Jessica talked to me on Facebook. She was saying she used her BlackBerry so much it started smoking one time. What's the craziest thing you've ever done or had happen to you with your phone?
The craziest place that Debbie left her phone was in Walmart in the frozen food section with the door closed, and it was ringing, and somebody found it.
You put your phone in the freezer at the store?
Apparently, when I was getting French fries, I was all over that store, and some man come up to me and said, I found it in the French fries.
Well, that's not. Well, you're not alone. Just the other day, Kenny put his keychain in the refrigerator here at the radio station.
Another day.
We are pretty mean to our phones, aren't we? I'm just hearing all these stories, though. We heard from Debbie on the phone a minute ago. She was talking about how she left her phone in the frozen food in the freezer at the store one time. And my dad, he's flipped over a canoe. That got his phone pretty wet. Kira said she's had hers in the water, too. It happens. My girlfriend actually dropped her phone in the toilet one time. We are never getting back together like ever. Taylor Swift on K-Lite 94.7. Just checking the weird news folder here, and believe me, there's plenty of it today. It gets pretty good, though. There's a couple of them in particular I was going to share with you. There was this one out of Oregon, and then there was another one out of Texas. The Texas one kind of makes me a little bit mad, though. But so we'll start with the Oregon one. There was this burglary in someone's house. This 20-year-old dude was sleeping in the kitchen floor of a home in Oregon. He broke in, and then he started sleeping. He had his hands in his pockets, and there were small electronic devices on him that they believe were stolen from unlocked vehicles. And for some unknown reason, he broke into this house. Then maybe he was just tired or something. He fell asleep on the kitchen floor. That was all that. But he was charged with burglary, trespassing, criminal mischief, and all kinds of other things that linked him to other burglaries that had happened hours before the arrest. So he is probably just tired from all that. All right. Never been awakened by a sleeping burglar. Probably never had to wake one up either. But anyway, there was this other story. Kind of makes me a little bit upset, actually, because there was this lady, and she got arrested for letting her kids play outside. How many of you have ever had your children playing outside? And she was watching them, too. And what had happened was her neighbor, this was in Texas, had called the police in her town and said that, that the children were outside playing in the street. They live, these people, in a very, very suburban area where there's not really any traffic. In fact, it's a cul-de-sac at the end of the street. She was in her yard watching them. They were just kind of playing on their scooters there, in a cul-de-sac, And here comes the police car. She kind of walks up there because the police car is pulling in, next to her children. And she's like, yeah, what can I do? Can I help you? And he said, no, ma'am, I'm here for you. Arrested her right on the spot. She spent a night in jail. You've got to see this news story. on YouTube. If you can remember, her name is Tammy Cooper. This mom, she was out of jail the next day and told her story though. But I don't know. It kind of makes me a little upset. I mean, there's a difference in not watching your children at all. It'd be different if the lady was in her house, not paying any mind to what they're doing. But she was sitting there watching them from her yard play virtually in their yard. Arrested, huh? Wow, Tammy Cooper. Look that up on YouTube. This is Train right now. Well, it is a hop, skip, and a hopscotch into the record books. I'm talking about organizers in Detroit. They think that they have set a new Guinness World Record for the largest hopscotch course. Somebody's got some time on their hands here. They say this hopscotch course stretches 4.2 miles on Detroit's sidewalks. And the record attempt still has to be verified by the Guinness people and all that. And who knows how long that could take. Hopefully they didn't make this hopscotch course with sidewalk chalk. I mean, because what if it rains? That would be bad. Can you imagine a 4-mile hopscotch course running through Paintsville? Who would have the time or the energy to, hopscotch down through there? Of course, who would have the time to make that?